Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. If you really want to understand where a city is heading, you don't look at the billboards, right? You look at the meeting minutes. Today, we're connecting the dots between the City of Nevada's municipal documents from May through July of 2026. Sure, on the surface, things like zoning variances and budget amendments sound, well, a bit dry. But strung together, they actually reveal a massive, coordinated strategic push for infrastructure and economic growth. So let's break down exactly what city leaders were up to this summer. Okay, let's dive into this. To make sense of the summer's flurry of action, we're going to cover 4 logical themes. First, leadership and strategy realignments. Second, shaping the neighborhoods. Third, property acquisition financing. And finally, the multi-million-dollar grant pursuit. Section 1, leadership and strategy realignments. To really understand Nevada's current local government, we have to look back at the May 14th Q2 strategy meeting. Mayor Donald Deering, along with council members Mike LaKay and Paul Baker, were officially sworn in for new 2-year terms. Now, the absolute critical takeaway here, they were installed without any opposition. That kind of consensus gave this council a really clear mandate to move swiftly on the major decisions we're about to explore. And getting into the official minutes from that May 14th meeting really grounds these administrative facts in reality. It's fascinating because you can see exactly who was in the room as these summer strategy sessions kicked off. You've got City Secretary Heather Shell, City Attorney Jim Shepard, and EDC President Bruce Matthews. This was truly the foundational moment where the key players were legally empowered to tackle the city's upcoming agenda. Section 2, shaping the neighborhoods. So because a few recent city meetings actually had to be canceled, the July 7th City Council agenda was absolutely packed. Alongside taking action on local street repair requests, they processed a total flurry of individual property variances. Philip Hook secured approvals on Center and South Warren Streets, Abdul Muhammad got approval on Eve Street, while Vern Larkham's Cedar Elm request was moved to a Board of Adjustment hearing. It just goes to show how the city is meticulously managing the physical makeup of existing streets, literally block by block, while planning for the future. Now contrast those micro-level, block-by-block approvals with macro-level zoning. At the June 16th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, they made a really crucial decision. They decided to hold off on any broad revisions to the future land use map. Basically, they aren't rushing to rewrite the city map just yet. Instead, they're maintaining the current zoning baselines and waiting for hard data to come in, specifically a pending sales tax report from the state comptroller. Section 3, property acquisition financing. Local governance is a constant study in cause and effect. At that super busy July 7th meeting, the council systematically tackled the complex financial realities of acquiring a local church property. Hilltop Securities presented 3 distinct debt funding options, but the council had to publicly acknowledge a really tough reality. Every single option would require a tax increase. Because real estate negotiations are so delicate, they then move straight into a closed executive session for legal counsel. It's a textbook example of cautious municipal planning in action. Section 4, the multi-million-dollar grant. To wrap our heads around this next massive initiative, we have to ask a really tough question. Why are national retailers hesitating to build in Nevada? Over the course of the May 12th and July 14th EDC meetings, this exact question took center stage. Then, at the July 28th Planning and Zoning meeting, EDC President Bruce Matthews shared a major wake-up call. It came from Retail Strategies, which is a firm that represented Nevada at a huge Vegas convention, pitching the city to around 20 different national companies. So the crucial point is, the feedback they got was incredibly blunt. The predominant barrier to commercial commitment is the absence of a public sewer system. National retailers absolutely love Nevada's demographic growth, for sure, but they simply will not commit without modern municipal plumbing. This single, undeniable realization shifted the city's entire focus right away from marketing straight to fundamental engineering. Let's move to and see how this builds, because realizing they couldn't just fund a whole sewer system out of pocket, the city moved incredibly fast on a Federal Economic Development Administration grant. And because Collin County had a 2024 disaster declaration, Nevada actually qualified. The EDC engaged a firm called GrantWorks, and they rapidly published RFPs for engineers with a strict August 4th deadline. The council is set to review those recommendations on September 1st, and they're hoping for a federal decision by Thanksgiving of 2026. Now, why the aggressive timeline? Well, it's because the estimated total project cost is somewhere between $5 to $6 million. For a city of Nevada's size, that is a staggering number. To make this work, the local EDC is actually preparing to finance a 20% local match through a bank loan, which will be repaid as federal reimbursements roll in. They are essentially pushing all their chips to the center of the table. And this brilliantly illustrates why they'd take that massive financial leap. It all comes down to this one number: 95%. GrantWorks reported a 95% success rate with similar federal applications. Obviously, there are no guarantees when it comes to federal funding, but putting the specific data point on the public record provided a really strong sense of grounded optimism for the council. The risk is undeniably high, but the statistical probability, it's incredibly strong. Those seemingly routine meetings of May, June, and July were actually the runway for a massive takeoff. With millions of dollars in foundational infrastructure on the line, all eyes are now firmly on the fall. Will Nevada secure the EDA grant by Thanksgiving and permanently alter its economic trajectory? The leaders are in place, the applications are in, and we'll be watching closely. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.